Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So from today I will be starting into Swift series, and the first topic which I have chosen to be is the coordinator pattern. Some people use it, some people don't use it. People have their own opinions about it. Personally, I feel that it gives us a very nice separation of code for majorly for using the navigation, and it can also be used for data transfer, for moving, for popping to the root view controller, and we can do a lot more things with the child coordinators. So it is helpful in one way or the other. It also makes look the controller code very nice and clean. Um so you let me know how is your opinion about the coordinator pattern. Let's jump into the code. I'm on the Xcode now. I'll create one new project and I'll name this project as coordinator pattern. Next, create. Okay, let's run this. Okay, next what I'll do is I will create one label here. Name it as main or maybe home page. Okay, let's run it. Okay, fair enough. So now what I want to do is I want to remove this default behavior, and I want to do this from the code so that I can start from the app delegate and move towards the coordinator. So let's what I mean is you'll come to know soon. So let me first remove this main storyboard name, and then from the scene delegate main storyboard name remove from here as well. Let's run it now. You see, so there is no window. Okay, now we need to create a window from app delegate. So we will create an object of window, and then here we will initialize the window frame dot screen dot main dot bounds. This means the window will always be within this bounds. The next is window dot root view controller. We'll come back to this. Next, window dot make key visible. So what this statement will make sure that window will be always the first window on the top. Let's make the root view controller now. Var navigation controller equals to UI navigation controller. Then navigation view controller dot push view controller. I'll give this view controller's name controller animated false. Let's run this. Okay, and give this as root view as navigation controller. Okay, so we created the navigation controller, assigned it to the root view. Let's run this. We still don't see the window. The reason is because we have not instantiated the storyboard here. So var storyboard equals to UI storyboard main, and the bundle would be the default bundle where all the resources are there. And now when we have the storyboard instance, we'll say storyboard this be storyboard dot instantiate view controller with identifier. I'll say the view controller's name, and I will have to put this identifier here. Okay, let's go back. So now we have this VC, we have instantiated this VC, so let VC equals to storyboard instantiate with identifier, and we'll put this VC here. Okay, let's run it now. Still we don't see it. The reason behind it is because we have done this code in app delegate, and we need to write this same code in scene delegate as well. So scene delegate was introduced after iOS 13. So you do let me know in the comment box why do we need scene delegate and how it is different from app delegate. I'll create a different study video for this. So for now, here in this window, we don't need the frame window, but we need the scene window, and scene window equals to, so we'll assign this here. Let's run it now. So we see the window now. Okay, so what we did is we created the navigation view controller, we created the instance of storyboard, and then we created the instance of window and assigned the root view controller, navigation controller to the root view controller. So why I have done this, there's a reason behind it. So I want you to take you to step by step towards the coordinator pattern. So now let me create two groups here, one for the controller and the other for the coordinator. Okay, so in coordinator I'll create two files. One is the story, or maybe I'll name it simple, like connect board, and the next file I'll have is the coordinator. So basically connect board will contain the code which we have here, these two lines. So now our objective is not to push the view controller from app delegate, but instead we will call the coordinator from app delegate, and the coordinator will decide which view controller to push. Okay, so let's first copy these two lines and go to the connect board. So connect board is a kind of helper class for instantiating the storyboard, so that we don't have to write this code again and again. So there are many ways to do it, but this is a bit nicer way to write. You will see protocol, I'll say connect board, and then static function, and I want to get the instance here, right? So get will be a better word, get instance, and this will return self. So this self is not the context one, but this means the type. And now I will create an extension for this connect pod where I'll say where the self is nothing but UI view controller. So this code can be used on UI view controller. I'll say static function get writing instance and return self, and then here we'll copy these two lines, and we need to return from here the storyboard instance, which will be as self, but we don't want to hard code this, so instead we can write here self, whichever view controller uses it, and we can declare it here like this: string describing as self. Okay. So now our connect board is ready. Let's go to the coordinator. So in coordinator we are going to have a protocol coordinator. This protocol basically majorly has three things inside it. So right now we'll use only two, which the first one is var navigation controller. So type UI navigation controller, and since this is a property, so we'll say get and set. Okay, and then we have one function here which we can say as we want to connect with the view controller, so we can say connect to view controller. Okay, so this is the blueprint of coordinator, initial and a very basic level of coordinators. So what we'll do is we'll create one base coordinator. So the call will first come from app delegate to scene delegate, and from there it will come to the coordinator, the base coordinator, and base coordinator will decide that where it wants to push the view controller, which view controller it wants to push. So it could be this view controller, or it could be any other like list view controller, details view controller, locations view controller. That base coordinator will decide. So let's create the base coordinator. So basically we are moving the navigation functionality into the coordinators, and this will help the controllers to have a clean code, and at the same time we can use those coordinators for transferring the data as well. So let me create the base coordinator. I'm sorry, I had a very bad throat because I have been suffering from cold and cough from past few weeks, so pardon me for that. Import UIKit. Okay, so the base coordinator is basically a class which will inherit this protocol called as coordinator, and then it will have its functions here. So it is always a best practice to create the initializers. So what we'll do is when we create the navigation view controller in the app delegate, we'll pass that route navigation to the base coordinator, and the base coordinator will pass on this navigation to the view controllers and so on. So okay, so now from the app delegate we need to remove this first because this has gone to the connect board, and we will remove this as well because this will go into the base coordinator. So what we need to do from here is we need to call the base coordinator. So I'll create a base coordinator object. Be an optional. So base coordinator equals to base coordinator navigation. Assign the navigation here. Okay, then from base coordinator I will call the function connect to view controller. So this connect to view controller is inside the base coordinator, and that push thing we will write here. But before pushing the view controller we need to get the instance of storyboard first, which we have in the connect board. So before that we need the view controller to have connect board, and now from here we can say let vc equals to view controller dot get instance. So because of this we are able to get the get instance function. So now storyboard instantiated, we'll say navigation view controller dot push view controller vc animated false. Also what we need to do here is we need to create var weak, oh sorry, it's reverse, weak var coordinator, and this would be base coordinator. So in the base coordinator I can say here vc dot coordinator. So now the instance of base coordinator should be this current base coordinator context, so which is why we assign it to self. Okay, so if we don't assign, the coordinator will be nil here in the view controller, and we won't be able to call any function inside the coordinator. So which is why we assign the self here. And okay, so here we are. Let's check this. Okay, it works fine. So what we did here is I think we need to add this in the scene delegate. I'm sorry for that, it's taking the earlier version. So let me change this code with this piece of code, and here we will have this one, base coordinator. So now from base coordinator we don't need this because base coordinator is doing this job. Okay, so what we are doing here is we are creating the navigation view controller instance, then we are creating the base coordinator instance and passing the navigation to the base coordinator. Then we make the navigation as root view controller, and when we reach the base coordinator it pushes the view controller. Let's check this. So you can see we have come from here to here, and now if we run this you can see we are into our home page. So let's take another scenario. So this is very basic coordinator pattern, So let's take another scenario wherein we have few buttons here, like one button, maybe one more button I'll take. So this is for the, okay, let me quickly configure this all. List, so say show list view, say here details view, and then I'll open the assistant, create one, create one here, say show list view that with this, show details view tabbed, and let's assign it to this. So we have both our functions here. Okay, let's go back to the base coordinator. So now we have two buttons here. So when we click on this, again the navigation will happen. So this code we should not write in the view controller. We should again go call the base coordinator, and then base coordinator will decide to which page it will go. Okay, so to achieve this, I will write one more function in base coordinator as connect to list view controller. And from here I can write the same code here, copy, paste here. So instead of view controller it will be list. Oh, I need to create the list view controller first. New file, list view controller. Okay, import UIKit class list view controller. It inherits from UI view controller, and load super we did load. Okay, it will again be using connect board so that we can get the get instance of storyboard function. Okay, so now we have a list view controller. Let's go back to the base coordinator and we'll say list view controller dot get instance, and we need to make the vquar coordinator as base coordinator. Okay, so let's check it. Okay, so when we click on show list, nothing happens. It is because in the list, in the view controller, we haven't called the base coordinator function. So what we'll do is we'll write here coordinator dot connect to, we are calling the list view controller, and this, you have already seen that we are pushing the view controller from here. Let's run it now. Oh, I'm sorry, I think I missed this thing also. Okay, we need this. We need to have one view controller here as well. And I will say this as list view controller, the story ID, your story pod. Let me create one label here and name this label as list view. Okay, let's check now. So we have the home page. Let's click the show list and we can see that we are in the, I think we didn't do the animated thing, so we need to make it animated true. Let's check now. Yeah. Okay, so same in the same way, if I want to send it to details view, I will make another function and call it to the details view. Think that in list view also I have similar 4 or 5 actions. Again, I'll call the base coordinator and I'll write those actions here to navigate. So there is a very good chance of this base coordinator to become a massive coordinator, and which is why the concept of child coordinators come into picture. So I will I think this video has been too long, so I will take that in next part. So see you there.